What is good, everybody? Hello. Trying to get out of this like direct line of sun here. Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to talk to you today. Really, this is a quick one, but I'm going to talk to you today about how you can be busy about collecting wins more so than losses. So I'm going to talk to anyone that has this desire to step out on a dream and maybe isn't seeing any feedback yet, right? Like, nobody is tuning in. Nobody is watching you. You just feel like, what am I doing? Like, am I sure that I heard God on this? Am I sure that this is what I'm led to do, that this is where I'm meant to be, right? Sometimes when we don't get a lot of feedback, when we're just showing up and we're doing the work, and we can just be like, So I'm going to talk to you about three things that you can really focus on if you can relate to that, whether you have started a blog and it hasn't caught yet, or you don't have the engagement that you want on social media, or you're doing this podcast and nobody's tuning in, so you feel like you're just talking to the ethers, right? So I'm going to talk to whoever that might be on today. So let's chat. Now, I was in a revival group class a couple days ago, and we meet to sort of process training that we've been exposed to over the course of usually 2 weeks at a time. So it's bi-weekly. So there's lots to sort of process together in community. But part of what we were doing, we were talking about what our strengths are, what our weaknesses are, and what season that we are sensing that we're in, whether that's personally or collectively. So what was interesting was one of my strengths that came up, which is usually a weakness for people, was discipline and self-control. For some reason, like, I've really got that wired into me from a very early age. Now, I can, first and foremost, I would say this is God, right? The only reason that I'm able to do what I do is because of that connection, 100%. But I do believe that God also puts gifts and strengths in us, right? And one of mine happens to be organization. Like, I love breaking things down. I like making them into bite-sized chunks. I like knocking them out. I like being organized. I like being disciplined to some degree, because I believe and I've experienced that discipline saves you pain. So I'm motivated by that, right? Like, I know that if I keep showing up and if I'm consistent, there we go, then I don't have to make up for all the times that I didn't show up, which is so much more. Like, a really great example of this is if you work out every day, you know, like, how much work it actually takes to burn off a candy bar or a can of soda, right? Like, you start to realize it's just not worth it. Like, that doesn't give me any gains other than like a momentary hit of pleasure, and that's it. There's no nutritional value in that. It's actually toxic probably in a lot of ways, right? And it would cost me at least probably an hour and a half to burn that sucker off, right? So, like, what even is the point, really? So this is an example, right? Like, if you show up consistently and you just do the right things consistently, it's a lifestyle, and it's so much easier on you than trying to make up for a bad choice. With me? So discipline is something that is going to be a theme here. But here are the three things. Number one, if you are embarking on something new, the first thing that you've got to do is you've got to recognize that you need to do it for you first. You do it for you first, and then you do it for them, whoever them ends up being, whoever your audience ends up being when they do actually tune in and they tune in consistently. You do it for you first, and then you show up for them later. So meaning, if you embark on a workout routine, since I was using that as an example, you do that for you, right? Like, it's got to be something that you do for you, right? So whether it's a workout routine, whether it's a sleep schedule, whether it is a new blog, a new podcast, a new volunteer pursuit, whatever it happens to be, you've got to do it for you first. You've got to have your own why that you're showing up every day, because in the beginning, nobody will show up. Nobody will show up. So if that's why you're showing up, it's not going to last, right? You might get a few blog posts out. You might get maybe 100 podcast episodes, but it's just going to stop, right? Because if you're motivated by that, it's not enough. So you've got to decide, why is it worth it to you? And you're going to stay committed no matter what. If that's where you're led to be, then dig your heels in and do the work and just show up. So that would be number one. Do it for you first and then show up for them. So show up for you, right? It's going to help you. You're going to get value out of it. You would show up for you anyway. So show up for you. Do it for you first and then show up for them later, okay? It's kind of the oxygen mask mentality. So that's number one. Number two is be consistent. Be consistent. So a really great example of this is Walmart. Okay. So Walmart probably does not have awesome sales days every single day. But the interesting thing about Walmart is everybody knows that they're open 24/7. Maybe they have some different hours now, but they are accessible. That's what people know. They are accessible. They're consistent. They might not always be the top quality, right? But you know that you can get in there. You know, if you got to run an errand, you know, if you got to do something, you can run into Walmart, right? So kind of have that in your mind, right? Like, people aren't going to come to you because every single message you drop, every single podcast you drop, every single blog post you drop, every single post you drop on social media, they're not going to come to you because everyone is epic and so big and mind-blowing and whoa, right? Like, some of them are going to suck, okay? Sometimes things that really land for you, maybe they don't always land for everybody, right? But the right people will get exposed to it. And the whole point is that you're consistent no matter what. So what happens is people start to know, like, and trust you because you show up no matter what. They start to look forward to your post. They start to understand that no matter what the post is about, no matter if it was like, you know, hitting it out of the park or not, they know that they're going to feel uplifted. They know that they're going to feel encouraged. They know that they're going to walk away better because they interacted with your content, with your gift, with your presence, with God in you, right? They know that they encountered that and they're better for it, right? So an example would be, take Oprah and her show, or Ellen, somebody like that, right? They show up consistently every day. Was every single one of Oprah's shows and episodes amazing? No, you might not have cared for some of the people that she interviewed, or maybe some of that didn't land for you, right? Same with Ellen, but you grew to honor and to respect and to acknowledge that there's deep conversations, there's real value that's happening, there's transformed lives. These testimonies are powerful, right? So you tune in because you know you're going to get value of some kind every time. Okay. So number two is be consistent, no matter what. Be consistent. And that's really where the discipline comes in. And then number three is make it a part of your lifestyle so it's not extra work for you. Like, just decide, commit, and take the action, okay? So if you are going to do a blog post a week, what is your day on your schedule where you're going to do the blog post? So maybe these different days of the week, you have an open Word document on your computer, let's say, or a Google document, or even your email or notes on your phone, right? And you're just adding into there throughout the day, right? And as the week goes by, and then by the end of the week, you've got your blog post, you can copy it all together and paste it, and then add a photo or whatever you want to do so it represents your brand. But it doesn't have to be like, oh, I got to sit down and I got to pump this sucker out right now, right? But pick a day where you're going to do it, and then the creative juices will flow and you'll have it by the time it comes, and have that consistent day every week so you know it's going to come. And then if you travel or if you're on vacation, you can anticipate that and you can create it in advance, right? Or maybe you do two posts in 1 week, right? To counter for that. Or if you are a YouTuber and you're making YouTube content, maybe if there's a day where you're all jazzed up, make a couple of videos and then have them release on different times, right? Like, but the key is to show up every week. Decide, how many videos are you going to do a week? How many podcast episodes are you going to do a week? How many blog posts are you going to do a week, right? How many posts are you going to do on social media? What can people expect from you? And then show up and do it consistently. So that's the part that is worth you considering. What is the social platform that is your jam, right? Like, you don't have to do everything. In fact, one of the beautiful things, particularly about being an entrepreneur, is you can outsource and delegate so much so that you can stay in your zone of genius or greatness, or however you want to say it, right? So that is key. So focus on what it is that you love doing. Do you love being in your DMs and connecting with your audience? Do you love being in your Instagram stories? Do you love YouTube and the whole process of creating a video and editing a video and cutting it together and putting in a jingle? Do you love that? Do you love just riffing on a podcast? Like, what is your jam? And then go all in on that platform, and then you can repurpose some of the content, but you've got to be clear on what you're going to do. So it's not just like sporadic and nobody knows how to follow you or how to come to you. And if you make it a part of your lifestyle, it's so much easier to sustain. You can make it sustainable. And then the discipline isn't as hard when you just fit it within your schedule. So for example, if you work full time, if you volunteer, if you're in school, if you just pick a day and time where you're going to make that happen, it will get done. So maybe it's Saturday mornings. Maybe it's Sunday. Maybe it's a Friday night. Instead of going out, like you do this every Friday, whatever it is for you, but pick the thing and be consistent about it. Okay. So how can you have more wins than losses? The answer is discipline, self-control, but really consistency. It's not going to be beautiful every day. You're not going to hit it out of the park every day, but it's got to be real. It's got to be true. It's got to be authentic for you. And it's got to be something that you can show up and do consistently. All right. So to all the creatives, to all the entrepreneurs, to all the aspiring entrepreneurs, I hope this message blessed you. If you are looking to build a spirit-led business, if you've got an idea on your heart and you're ready to make it happen, go over to julianapage.com. There is an awesome program made just for you. So go check that out. No other words necessary on that. If this message did bless you, make sure you subscribe and support a girl, and also copy the link and share it with the friends. All right, guys, until next time, stay blessed. Bye.